On July 16, 1945, the first atomic bomb detonation happened in New Mexico. We have unlocked the power of the atom for the first time in our history, but only to be used as a weapon. Now, in 2016, we know that nuclear power can be used for other purposes, like a renewable source of energy. Nuclear power is becoming very popular nowadays, and it will soon affect all of us in the future, so we have to learn about it today. But in order to fully understand it, you have to know what it is, how it works, and who uses it. So, first let's talk about what it is. Nuclear power is a chemical reaction. Chemical reaction is defined as the process that involves the rearrangement of a molecular structure. So here we have uranium atoms, and when you throw in a neutron, it mixes with a uranium atom, which causes the atom to split, releasing more neutrons, which mix with other uranium atoms, and which causes a chemical reaction. This process is called nuclear fission or a nuclear reaction, which is a popular topic in many sci-fi movies and novels nowadays. So nuclear fission releases heat, and from this heat we can get electricity. It's also worth noting that only 7 grams of uranium release as much electricity as a ton of coal. So now that you know what nuclear power is, let's talk about how it works. And here is a nuclear power plant. So the uranium atoms and the neutrons are put into steel rods, which are then put inside a steel capsule. Next to the steel capsule is pressurized water. This pressurized water is dumped around the steel rods, and it's heated to 300 degrees Celsius. However, because it's pressurized, no steam escapes it. Then the heated water is put into a pump, which puts into pipes, which makes a cycle around the steel capsule. However, some of the water loses its pressure and it turns to steam. The radioactive steam is then put into turbines, and which causes the turbines to spin, making kinetic energy. The turbines are connected to a conductor, and the conductor turns that kinetic energy into electrical energy. And from then on, the excess steam is dumped into another turbine, which is cooled off by seawater. And the steam is condensed and thrown back into the nuclear power plant. However, some of the seawater is heated by this, and it turns into steam, which is what flies out of the chimney that we see in all nuclear power plants. It's worth noting that the steam that comes out of this chimney is not radioactive at all. However, the nuclear waste made from this process will stay in our world for 24,000 years. So now that you know how nuclear power works, it's time to talk about who uses it. So a lot of countries in the world use nuclear power, the most popular ones being the US, France, Russia, China, and Korea. And it's worth noting that France gets 77% of its electricity from nuclear power. The US, however, only gets 20%. And nuclear power plant projects are expected to double in Asia, the Middle East, Eastern and Western Europe, and Eastern Western Europe. In the US, however, no nuclear power plant projects are planned, so we probably won't see an increase in the future here. So there have been some accidents throughout history with nuclear power. The most popular one being in Chernobyl, Russia, when a nuclear power plant exploded, and the most recent one being in Fukushima, Japan, a few years ago. These events slowed down the development of nuclear power, and it caused the governments around the world to put regulations on it. However, these nuclear power plants are still developing quickly. Now that you know what nuclear power is, how it works, and who uses it, you fully understand it. When people debate in the future about nuclear power, you can make an informed opinion. So now you're ready for the future of nuclear power.